Hello and welcome to this episode of Music with Tony Toppi. Today's topic, we are going to focus on pentatonics. And we're not talking about the a cappella group, we're talking about pentatonic scales. And in particular, major pentatonics and minor pentatonics. And as usual, we're going to look at how to write, sing, and hear them. So all three aspects. So let's jump straight into it. Pentatonics, in my opinion, are quite easy to understand if you understand major scales, as I've always said. So a pentatonic scale is basically a major scale minus a couple of notes. So I'm going to, for the sake of difference today, I'm going to stick in the E flat major tonality. So I'm just writing an E flat major scale here. I'll put my solfa, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Oh, so I wasn't quite in the right key there. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So that's our E flat major. And to convert that into a pentatonic, if we think the word pentatonic has some prefix pent, which means 5. So it's going to focus on 5 notes. So which notes do we need to delete from the major scale? We have our do, we have our re, we have our mi, we skip fa, we have so, we have la, and then we skip ti, and then we have our upper do there. So technically speaking, if we don't include the top do into the equation, then we have do, re, mi, so, la. There are our 5 notes. Do, re, mi, skip fa, so, la, and there's our top do. So let's have a sing of that. Do, re, mi, so, la, do, la, so, mi, re, do. And that's the major pentatonic scale. So major or do, because it starts on do, pentatonic. Similarly, the minor pentatonic, as we remember from the minor scales episode, starts on la. And it's the same thing. We leave out fa and ti. So la, leave out ti, do, re, mi, leave out fa, so, and then we end on the upper la there. So because we're in the context of E flat major, the la will be C. So there's that's the C, la. We're leaving out T. Here's our do note. Re, mi, leave out fa, so, and ending on la. La, do, re, mi, so, mi, re, do, la. And there we have our minor or la pentatonic. So fairly straightforward in my opinion. Let's have a look at a few other examples. So we'll pick a different key just for the sake, and maybe I'll switch to bass clef for all you bass clef readers out there. So let's go with let's do D major. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to write out my D major scale. So I'm going to start below here, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and D. Now you may notice I'm writing all these scales ascending. Of course, in an exam situation, you may be asked to write them descending. It's just the same thing backwards. I often teach my students, even if it asks descending, just start writing from right to left on the page and go ascending if it's easier in your thought process. It might be a bit easier for you as well, but either way, you'll have to read the question and see what it asks. My solfa, Do, where's my D? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So that's just a straight major scale. And D major at that. So how do we convert that into a major or do? You don't have to write major do. Doesn't matter if you do. But you don't necessarily have to. So the major pentatonic, I'm going to write my sol fa first. Do, re, mi, skip fa, sol, la, skip ti, and go to do. You'll notice I have not put the little X's or the crosses, because in an exam situation you probably wouldn't do that. But even if you did, it does not matter, because A, it's going to tell you your thought process, and B, it's going to make it clear to the examiner what you're doing, and it's going to help you get the right answer. If it does, great. Do, re, mi, sol, la, do. Oops, sorry, wrong key again. Do, re, mi, sol, la, do, la, sol, mi, re, do. And let's convert that into a minor pentatonic. So, minor or la pentatonic. So, la, skip ti, do, re, mi, skip fa, so, ending on la. In this case, the la of D major is B, which is here. La. There's our do, re, mi, so, and la. La, do, re, mi, sol, la, so, mi, re, do, la. And there we have the minor pentatonic. Of course, this one here will be called D major pentatonic, and the minor version B minor pentatonic, because it is the starting note. I'll just quickly adjust these ones. So that's our E flat major pentatonic and C minor pentatonic. It's vital to remember that the name of the scale is the first note. It's not some weird way you need to work something out. That's a very clear thing in music theory. Okay, so we've looked at how to write them, and we've, I suppose in a way, done how to sing them. So we're going to try it again, and I'll give you a few little practice tools as to how to practice singing them. So I'm going to go back to the E flat major version up the top here, because it's on the screen. So the first thing I would then do with my students is we just sing the major scale up and down. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Great, just to get the notes in our head. I then move to the pentatonic, and what I say to them is that we inner hear or audiate the fa and the ti. So literally, as we get there, you're going to hear silence, but in my head, I'm going to hear fa and ti. So something like this. Do, re, mi, sol, la, do, la, sol, mi, re, do. So that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the blank notes in my head, not very musical. Then I just try to sing it all up and down without the fa and ti. Do, re, mi, sol, la, do, la, sol, mi, re, do. And then I'll do the same thing with the minor scale, or the minor pentatonic rather. So I might sing, for example, the major scale and then go down to la, as if we were practicing singing a natural minor. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, ti, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, ti, la. Now from there, I'm going to sing up that natural minor scale again, leaving out fa and ti. La, do, re, mi, sol, la, sol, mi, re, do, la. And then put it all together. La, do, re, mi, sol, la, sol, mi, You can do that on an instrument. I'm doing it on keyboard, as you can hear. Pick up your saxophone, violin, whatever, and do the same thing. Of course, it's a bit trickier to sing through a saxophone, but you're still using your breath and your voice and your body to produce that sound. Of course, you can do it on a violin or on some other non-wind-based instrument. Of course, drummers, you will have to probably, or percussionists, well, percussion could use a xylophone or a marimba. If you're a straight drum kit player, get to a keyboard, get to a guitar, learn it on them. It's an excellent tool to have and to understand melody and harmony. So that's how we've done to write, we've sung them. Now, how do we hear the difference in pentatonics? This is probably one of the easiest ones to hear because, first of all, if you hear a full pentatonic scale, it's clearly got less notes than a full major scale. So that's your first giveaway. The second giveaway would be literally the first, well, you could go to the first 2 notes, but the first 3 notes. If you hear do, re, mi, and then a skip, you've got a major pentatonic. Instead of. To get the minor pentatonic, we have a skip right at the very beginning, a minor third, in fact. In fact, if you know the Game of Thrones, that's the beginning of Game of Thrones. But we're missing T, aren't we? La, ti, do, la, do. So, to summarize, to hear the major pentatonic, you've got do, re, mi, then a skip to so. If you want a minor pentatonic, you've got a minor third at the beginning. And then the rest of the scale. La, do, re, mi. So that's it, people. That's pentatonic scales, major and minor. We'll pick it up next time with the blues scale, which comes out of the minor pentatonic. So let's get to grips with these ones first, and then we'll add the blues scale into that, which is a funky scale that you can use to improvise. Your little task with this particular episode, take these scales, as in the pentatonics, and compose something with them. They're great to compose with because you can pop as many of the notes together. We lose the semitones. We lose the push and pull towards the tonic in these particular scales, which means it's a bit easier to get compositions sounding nice. In fact, a lot of film music is based on pentatonics because it's easier to edit later on in the editing studio. So have a go, play around with them, improvise with them, create melodies with them, and of course, sing them all the time. If you have any questions, queries, or comments about this episode, please send me an email at tonytoppi@me.com.